Welcome to Beyond Wealth, Success Unscripted with Matt Calnan. Discover the personal drive, professional journeys, and business strategies that have made a real impact. It's success from the inside out.
Welcome back, everyone. Today we're chatting with Cyndi Bester. Cyndi has an expansive record of achievement, an award-winning business leader. She has traveled the world as a concert pianist, co-written 4 best-selling books, and taken the stage as a competitive bodybuilder. During her business career, Cyndi has helmed successful companies specializing in registry services, healthcare, and workplace safety. Today, as Chief Executive Officer of the Lethbridge Chamber of Commerce, she has spearheaded a wide range of policy initiatives aimed at strengthening the local business community. So Cyndi, first of all, thanks for coming on the show. Welcome. And why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself and what you're doing?
Well, thank you for having me. What am I about myself and what am I doing? You just did kind of a great synopsis. Right now, as you said, I am the CEO of the Lethbridge Chamber of Commerce. I have been a long-term member as well. I always share that my dad took me to my very first chamber president dinner when I was 19, because he said that was, that civic responsibility in that role, just to, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you've got to be involved with it. So that's kind of what got the chamber into my blood. And just meeting people, the networking is amazing. The people you meet through the chamber are people that you wouldn't necessarily meet in other avenues. So that's been really, really wonderful. Policy wise, I am kind of a policy nerd. I talk about that a lot. I love getting up. I love debating. I love answering questions, looking on both sides of things, and then seeing how we can narrow it up and come to a common consensus. We just had 6 policies pass at the Alberta Chamber of Commerce AGM.
Awesome.
We have 2 federal ones coming up. So we're one of the most aggressive chambers in Canada, really. I had the fortune of going to Ottawa during the federal budget release, connecting with a lot of federal level connections there. So it's just, chamber gets me into a lot of different routes, but I'm also, as you said, owner of Lethbridge Vehicle Licensing and Registry. And my son is managing it for me most of the time. And so it's 3rd generation in our community, which I'm very, very proud of.
Yeah.
That 30 years as it's exciting. And just to see the enthusiasm of that next generation as an entrepreneur, it really gets me excited. It's very, so that kind of keeps me busy on the front. You can see my piano in the background. This is one of my pianos. So that is where a huge passion of mine is. And that's kind of me, business and music. And
dive into the music side a little bit more, because that was really like earlier on in your life, you were quite involved in that and you did some touring and whatnot. Can you dive into that a little bit?
Sure. I grew up playing the piano and the violin and the viola. Got into the viola because I grew up in the Crow's Nest Pass, and the person who was playing the viola at the time passed away. So I got changed from violin to viola, and I actually loved the deep sound of the viola. It really connected with me. So came off to university. I was going to do a double biochem degree, and
wow.
Yeah,
that's even nerdier than policy.
I know. And so I did a semester of that, and I thought, I don't have the personality to be locked up in a lab or for the rest of my life. So I'm like, well, I've always played the piano. So I tried out and I got in right away. And so I ended up with a bachelor degree in music with distinction. And then that kind of took me into a couple different directions. I was working for my family while I was going to university. And then I had an opportunity. I got a scholarship to jump into my master's degree right away. I'm the first person to enter the U of L's Master of Education program without a Bachelor of Education.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. So, I'm the youngest person as well. So that got me a scholarship and took me to study in Russia. I got
Okay.
2 full summers studying over there and playing and touring, and it was it was amazing. It was
Yeah.
such an experience. So I played quite a bit, and then my grandfather got cancer, and I needed to come home. And my parents owned the registries and a private nursing company. So I stepped into the private nursing company and helped my mom while she took care of my granddad. And that's
Yeah.
what got me into healthcare.
Yeah.
And, so I stopped playing, kind of not stopped playing, but I didn't have the same opportunity to play as I did then. But
Yeah.
uh, there's been different opportunities where I've played in all over in crazy places. I got to play in Chopin's house outside of Warsaw.
Oh,
I got
wow.
to play, some of the most amazing, beautiful churches. And I've played at the Empress Hotel in Victoria,
Very cool.
down in the States, all sorts of different cool places. So those experiences, like when I sit and I can play Beethoven, like I'm the happiest person in the world. Like there's
Yeah. Yeah.
just something about touching those keys and just feeling that vibration and it's powerful. And
Yeah.
so when I need to sort something out, like if I'm heavy into writing different things, I'll go play the piano, and just something just it sorts everything out for me.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Well, I think there's quite a bit of like science behind the connection, like the brain synapses. And I'm not going to pretend to have any knowledge on that stuff, but I know that there is something with that when music can help connect the brain synapses and the thoughts and get, we'll call it the juices flowing from a thinking process, right?
Well, it's mathematical, so that nerdy side of my brain, it's very chord structured. It like this, a major chord is a major chord. There's no way around it. And there's a certain structure to it. And then moving into a minor chord. So how do you do that? How do you make that transition smooth? And so yeah, it's interesting. Whole nother topic.
Yes, yeah, yeah. That's probably a podcast on its own. What is the writing side of your life? Like, what got you into that, and what kind of work have you done up to date?
Well, I so my master's thesis was the journey from instrumentalist to musician. So talking about expanding past just your instrument and how that really makes you a musician, and that's transferred into my business life. Like you can't just be a single employee; you have to be part of a team, and how does that work? All those different pieces. So I am during some of that when I owned We Care Health Services. The founder of We Care was into Napoleon Hill. And so that was just something that my parents had us do. We got indoctrined into it. So eventually I'm a Napoleon Hill instructor. And so I went to through Purdue, and got certified. And so that's where I started doing a lot of my writing, and then got together with a group. And the first one I wrote about, I wrote about quite sensitive topics. Um, the first one is called The Fine Art of Parenting After Separation. I was married
Oh,
for
that's
18
interesting.
years,
Yeah,
and just how to manage healthy bonds with my boys and my partner, because we're
another
still a
parent. Yeah.
partner. We've been
Yes. Yeah.
parents forever together.
Yes.
And so making that work while still kind of, those emotions that go with that process. And
Interesting. Yeah.
then the next one is called The Girl in the Red Bikini. And so you had mentioned that I was a competitive bodybuilder. So I, my older brother actually he was set to go to the Olympics, and he swam nationally. And so I always had this older brother who was a sports person. So I always kind of wanted to find that sport. So mine was bodybuilding.
Yeah.
And, but I have some health issues, and I was diagnosed with chronic illness when I was 13. And so it's been a long journey. So I talk about, I look I look great on the outside. I've got, but on the inside, there was things going on. So just talking about transitioning and that. And then I ended up qualifying. I always said I would do it until I didn't qualify anymore. And so I did qualify, and I went to nationals through the Canadian Bodybuilding Federation, and it was a great experience. And I kept going, and then kind of COVID hit, and then nobody was going on the stage anymore. So there's
Yeah.
that one. So I really talk about, and how to work through health situations and
Okay.
still not let things get you down, and what to do at times when your kids are scared because they're seeing mom have an IV on their hand, and what does that mean, mom? And so scary things like that. The next one is called Johnny B, and it's about my younger brother. And he passed away 6 years ago. And it's a story about an amazing man who had some challenges and got through it all. But in the end, he was going to fly to Toronto, and he was at the airport, and his heart gave out. And they saw him, thought he was this young, wonderful, healthy man, and maybe things just didn't happen as they maybe could have, and so he passed. But he was an organ donor, and so I got to meet someone that got part of some of his organs, and
Oh,
that was
wow.
an insane experience. So
Yeah.
that was cool. Well, not cool, but you know what I mean. It was a journey.
Well,
So
and
there's
it's making maybe call it the silver lining of something, right? And obviously tragedy hits, you don't want to go through that, but what comes out the other side and how we overcome that is our choice.
and he's my brother. Everybody thought we were twins growing up, and um, he I always know when he's looking out for me, and he sends me feathers all the time. Like it'll just be random, something will be happening. All of a sudden, I see a feather right in front of me, and it's my brother John saying, "You know what, Cyndi, you got this. You're good. Keep going."
Oh,
So
that's cool. Yeah.
yeah. So and then my fourth one is I talk about Brahms, no, Bach, Brahms, Beethoven, and Bartok, and how what they did and the structure of how they worked is similar to business, and the politics they had to work with in their time, and different things like that, and some of the powerful conversations and powerful quotes that I was able to get from them. So it was kind of I met with them in a boardroom and had conversations with them, but I actually used their quotes in the body of the work.
Oh,
So it
cool.
was very conversational,
Yeah.
and yeah, that was I really enjoyed that because I got to link music back into what I love to do, which is business. I love business.
Yeah. And when you were at the U of L, obviously studying music there, is that a lot of the things that you would study is the history of music and these composers and
Yeah. Well, if you, yeah, because it's so part of it. Like if we think about, society at each different genre, and um, I'll even I'll use women in music, like Clara Schumann. Her husband is the one who's really known as a classic composer, but the work she was doing behind him and her works are just as notable, and the restrictions she had on her, and the support system she needs to be, it's phenomenal, the history and the stories behind, well, behind everybody. But with music being my keen interest, is what musicians have done to
Mhm.
either go against society's norms or speak up against society, or it's fascinating.
Yeah. Oh, that's very cool. So obviously music is a passion and bodybuilding became a passion for you. So I have to say when people want to get involved in sports, there's like soccer and volleyball and badminton and stuff like that. Bodybuilding is like a very extreme sport. I don't know that much about bodybuilding, but I know that it is like the extreme of the extreme. So why jump into that? Like, I know you well enough to know that you are not backing down from anything, but why?
You know, great question. It was a great stress reliever. The
Mm,
one thing I love about kind of going back to music, playing drums, you can bash any rhythm you want, and it's just whoa. You get some weights and you get some music on, and you start lifting like the what you can do. And plus, it was healthy for me, because I have to eat a very certain restricted way anyway. So the eating part was the easy part,
yeah, you've already been
and
used to that. You've been doing that.
that part was, I shouldn't say easy. I'm not going to say easy. None of
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
easy,
yeah,
but just the discipline. I like discipline. I like structure. Um, and I used to start every year, January 1st on a ski hill.
Ah, okay.
And I would be the first one, like I'd get up early before the boys were up, or even when I was younger. Um, I'd be the first one on the lift. So I could go up there and I'd have this kind of ritual that I was so grateful that I had the strength to do it, that I had the means to do it, and that I knew how to navigate my way down. And it was such a great way to start every year off, just
Yeah,
gliding
a
down that
blank
hill.
canvas.
Oh, it was amazing. So I do kind of like pushing things. So probably that's why I pick an extreme sport. I
Yeah.
don't. But my parents were helicopter skiers.
Oh, okay. Okay. So they're on the extreme
So,
sports
so
side of things
yeah,
too.
so I'm putting my parents on the hook for everything, business, skiing, but
Yeah, yeah. No, that's for again, for those that don't know, bodybuilding is incredibly difficult from a bunch of different facets, the diet being one, and the amount of work that it takes to get your body prepped for that. But interesting that you said there though, when you get into the rhythm of it, because when you think about it, a lot of the gym is rhythm to a certain degree, and music is rhythm. So yeah, you're right. Maybe those two worlds blend in your head and make more sense
yeah.
together than
But
apart.
you count things and then you take a breath, like a rest, and then you count.
Hmm.
And it's funny because some people would be like, I'd either listen to like Rage Against the Machine, or then I'd listen to some other nice soft pop music, or like it
Taylor
just depended.
Swift.
Yeah, like it just depended on what body part I was doing as well. Because on
Okay.
certain, like your legs, you need more oomph, right? So
Yeah,
you can't have something lovely in the background when you need oomph.
that's funny. These are things I don't have to think about because I'm not really a gym guy. So as much as I should be, my life is more simplified without all that.
Oh, I know. I joke that right now I'm doing a lot of carb loading. I'm carb
Yeah,
loading. That's what
yeah.
I'm doing. Very
Oh,
healthy.
that's a good way to put it. It's a good way to put it. Um, and now you're at the Chamber of Commerce in Lethbridge. You've been there a few years now, 4 years, 5 years, 5 years.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
how's that journey been? First of all, what got you into that, and how's that journey been so far?
My a friend of mine, because they were looking for somebody local. Um, and I was semi-retired, and they're like, Cyndi, you'd be great at, because you love this, you love this, you love this. And I'm like, well, you know what, that might be an interesting challenge to take me into my 50s. And so I decided to give it a go. And I really enjoy it. I enjoy connecting with people. I enjoy, just even like yesterday, I had the opportunity to link up a provincial minister with an organization that's doing some amazing research. Like being
Oh,
able to
cool.
do that
Yeah,
and
be
make
that
those
connector
connections,
person. Yeah.
like, and it's not like, and being able to sit in the room and listen to the amazing things that people are doing out there, it's what gives me hope for the future.
Yeah. Yeah. And so now, as your business is now transitioned, or is transitioning, I should say, to bring on a third generation. First of all, a lot of businesses don't survive a second generation, and you guys have obviously done that and thrived. And from the outside looking in, it looks like the right pieces are in place to continue that success. But what's that like bringing that third generation into the business side from, the good, the bad, the ugly?
Great question. And actually, I had this conversation with another family owned business just the other night. Um, we try to, growing up in a family business, that first to second generation transfer.
Mhm.
We had a lot of business discussions over family meals and holidays and things like that. So I'm being really strict on that because
Yeah.
my first job I love is being a mom,
Yeah. Yeah.
and my children and my grandson are extremely important to me, and I business is on the back burner when it comes to them. So making sure that that healthy frame of mind is always present, and that and my son's only 21.
Mhm.
He needs to be 21 too. So I need to be really thoughtful of that. So some of the things is just learning, but
Yeah.
it's and being the right person for the right job. My oldest son, he's a heavy equipment operator. he his day is made when he can scoop and pour, when he can get in the dirt and dig holes. And he
Yeah.
putting him in an office space would be, he would say, this isn't me. So recognizing what people's strengths are. And my youngest, he got his real estate license when he was 19. So he's got that, I want to talk, I want to communicate, I want to connect. And so he's happy in that environment. So
Yeah.
making sure that when you put people in the environment, that they're happy in it, because not everything works out all the time,
Mhm.
and you have to be ready for that. So just doing check-ins and making sure that processes, because the one thing I love, and this is hilarious, I never thought I would be, you know, this mature age where I'd be saying, oh, generations. It doesn't mean, oh, forget about it. Like I remember studying at university, and I'm like, oh, those traditionalists, those baby boomers, forget it. No, it's a real thing.
Yeah.
So just really being able to see from that young generation's eyes, okay, this is what you need for customer service. This is what you need for company branding. This is what you need for employee engagement. Like it's very it's unique, because I got to see what those, the traditionals thought, the baby boomers thought, and now I
Yeah.
can, you know, I've worked with enough millennials and now the up and comers. So
Mhm.
it's interesting. It's, you know what? It's like learning a new song I haven't played on the piano. You don't know until you start playing it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you'll find out if you enjoy playing it or not after.
That's right. Or how can I make the most of it? And
Yeah.
guess what? The one thing I always say to people, and I wrote one paper on this, is like Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata. Everybody knows the first movement of it.
Hmm.
And they're
Hmm.
like, and you might yell like, oh, it's kind of slow. And then, but they don't know the second movement and the third movement. And the third movement is actually the best movement. So sometimes you got to get through that first movement, the second movement, and get to that third movement. And then you're like, oh,
It all
this
comes
is
together.
stayed, and this is why I listen, right? So
Yeah.
you can't just let one piece that might not be your fancy get you down.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously your kids have to show drive and particularly the 21-year-old that's working in the business now. Do you see that drive? Like how has that come for your kids naturally? Have they had to work at it? What does that look like? Because I mean, you're very hardworking. You've done well for yourself in life, so they've got somebody great to look up to. What does that look like for them?
You know, um, both their both sides of their family are like, we're both business on, like that entrepreneurial spirit. So they've seen it around us, but they've also seen the importance of community involvement, and how that really, you know, it's great to work and be and get that personal satisfaction, but you have to take care of your community. And when you take care of your community, it just, the rewards are endless.
Yeah.
because then it takes
Yeah.
care of your family. Um, you know, that's an interesting. You know, my youngest, he was a nationally ranked competitive gymnast when he was 15,
Mm.
and so he's always had that. He would swing on that high bar like nobody's business, and but he also knew control,
Yeah.
and he knew when it was when to do that extra flip and when not to.
Yeah. Yeah. At
So
some point you have to shut it down, right?
yeah, and so I sometimes I get concerned that I didn't model that enough. Um, but and that's why I kind of write about that in The Girl in the Red Bikini,
Okay.
because of my health issues, I've always, you know, not known how long I'm going to be here.
Yeah.
But nobody knows how long they're going to be here,
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
right? And so I think if I just, you know, remember, okay, I got to live in the moment too. Um, and so I can write my current story with everybody that's in it.
Yeah. Very cool. One thing you've talked about a few times here is community and the importance of that. You're born and raised in Southern Alberta. I think you've lived here most of your life. Tell me what that community means, and maybe for somebody listening that wants to get more involved in their community, what can they be doing?
Great question. Because I'm actually doing an interview at City Hall today about
Oh,
volunteering
perfect.
on
Great
different,
timing.
yeah, different community things. You know, and it's important to like get involved. What is it that you're passionate about? You know, I love the University of Lethbridge, so I've been very involved with volunteering and different things there. City of Lethbridge, there's you know so many different committees you can be involved in, so your voice can be heard, but also so you make different connections with people you would never meet, like because
Yeah.
your business connections, and then there's community connections, and then when your kids are growing up, there's school connections. Get involved
Hmm.
with the school committee, or when your kids are in gymnastics or soccer, maybe get on that board. Lacrosse, that's another sport we were heavily involved in, so I did the first aid. You know, just find what speaks to you and what makes you happy, and then know what your strengths are and then get involved,
Yeah. Yeah.
because it just, but again, you know, evaluate how much time you have to give at different times of your life. And if you're showing up to take your son to soccer practice already, get out there and help them. You're going to be there and
Yeah.
it's good for you, right? And it'll
Yeah.
put a
Yeah.
smile on your face when they do something cute, right?
Gets the endorphins going, right?
Right. So you know, I think you can't just sit back and complain. I hope that's coming out right.
Yeah. I
um
think that makes sense. Yeah.
you have to, if there's something you believe in and if you want to see change, there's a very kind way to step in and see how you can make a change.
Hmm. Hmm. This is somewhat related, maybe not directly, but my parents always used to tell me growing up that if you don't vote, you can never complain about the government, and that's kind of the similar thing, right? If you're not, going out and actively supporting the groups that your kids are involved in or the community groups, then you can't be complaining about the state of the community or the state of, say, your kid's school council or anything like that, because you have the ability to go in and be part of that change then.
Well, and that's exactly right. And we do get an opportunity to vote. And, you know, it can be frustrating at times when, you know, not to get too political, but, you know,
Hmm.
when you have municipal, provincial, and federal level
Yeah.
government who see things completely different because their funding's different and how they have to
Yes.
take
Yeah.
care of people is different.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, thinking, well, if I go and vote in the federal election, is it really going to make a difference? Yes, it will, because your voice is your voice. You know, so I that's why I really, but that thank you for bringing that up. Yes, go and vote, or go get, you know, if there's something you want to be involved in, like um Allied Arts Council, if your heart's in the arts, when you want to see some things or some changes, go sit on that committee or go get involved or attend the symphony or attend, some of the shows that come to Yates or whatever. Like, get out there and support. If you
Yeah.
don't have time to sit on the committee, make time to go and participate in seeing that sport or seeing that concert or go to that rodeo.
Yeah.
Whatever that looks like for
Yeah.
you, get involved and participate.
Yeah.
And if there's a lot of things out there to get your name known too, so then you can volunteer, which then if you're at a point where your kids are costing you a fortune, and sometimes you can volunteer and put those hours towards paying off some of the fees, or there's a lot of organizations with, if you volunteer for 10 hours you get X amount off of this. And so
Okay.
that's looking into things like that, even the number of bingos I had to volunteer at. But I did it because I needed to,
Yeah.
because those gymnastics fees, they add up. And
Not
so
cheap. Yeah.
but so look at those opportunities. And a lot of people don't know that there is opportunities like that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's very well put. And one word you used in there a couple times, I think which is great. It's participate, just participate, go and do something. So what's next on the horizon for you? What's coming up? What's life looking like?
That's a great question. You keep asking me great questions. I'm not sure. I'm at kind of this fork in the road, if we could say.
Yeah.
I've got some exciting things coming up this summer, and I don't know. It's funny because I always say I don't know what I'm going to do when I grow up. I
Yeah.
haven't decided yet.
Yeah. Haven't figured it out.
I haven't figured it out, but I've had a great journey along the way, and so it'll be interesting. It'll
Good.
be
Well,
interesting, that's for
keep
sure.
keep writing the chapters of the book of life there, I guess, right?
That and by being involved, opportunities come.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're very right. Very right. If people wanted to learn more about you or connect with you, where would they go to, Cyndi?
There's a couple different spots. I'm on, of course, LinkedIn. So Cyndi Bester, CYNDI, Bester, BESTER. I'm also, I'm on Facebook and Instagram and all that kind of stuff. I'm one of those people that all my stuff is open.
Mm.
I firmly believe that if you're going to post something on social media, and if it's not something that you want people to see, then maybe don't post it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, which some people like, you leave it open. I'm like, well, I don't ever want people to say that I'm not being transparent.
Sure. Yeah.
Right.
Very good. Very good. Yeah.
So it's, yeah. And so, or you can always email me. It's cindybester@gmail.com. That's my personal email, or connect with me at the chamber, or
Yeah.
there's a lot
Become a
of
member of the chamber.
become a member of the
Yeah.
Lethbridge Chamber if you're not. We're more than events. We do a lot of really, really fun, cool things. And
Like
policy is fun and
cool
cool.
policy. Yeah. Cool policy stuff. Yeah. Well, Cyndi, I really want to thank you for taking the time to sit here with us today, and best of luck on whatever the fork in the road brings, and looking forward to chatting.
Hey, thank you.
Thanks, Cyndi.
You've been listening to Beyond Wealth, Success Unscripted with Matt Calnan. Want to be our next guest? Visit beyondwealthpodcast.ca/guest. See you on the next episode.